when I would get to the farm, I would talk with the farmers, and they were good people and good farmers, but they were growing for quantity instead of quality. Their selling points were how cheap their hemp was and how much of it they could grow. And I wanted quality, and I just wasn't finding quality.
Welcome back to Digest This. Today, I'm joined by Ret Taylor, co-founder of the company Ned. We touch on the benefits of CBD beyond just anxiety, plus how to choose the right kind of CBD, concerns one may have when starting to take it, and so much more. There's a lot of information out there when it comes to CBD, and it's hard to navigate it all. So we're here to break it down. All right, you may not know this about me, but every morning before I drink my daily coffee, I actually drink electrolytes first. There's two reasons I do this. One, your body is naturally dehydrated from the previous night's sleep and is craving hydration. And two, coffee actually dehydrates you, even though it is technically a liquid. So, rule of thumb, hydrate before you caffeinate. I personally use Element electrolytes in my morning routine. It's literally the first thing I drink every single morning. I stick to their raw, unflavored version, which contains no sugar, no flavorings, no coloring, and no fillers. It contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio of salt, magnesium, and potassium. And their unflavored version has only those 3 ingredients. Element is by far the cleanest electrolyte drink I've found on the market, and I've been looking for a while. Other electrolyte drink mixes have added sugar, maltodextrin, dextrose, gums, and even added oils. Electrolytes are essential for our body to function. So you want to not only make sure you are getting them in your body, but you are getting the best kind. There's also research to back that when you keep hydrated, there are lower risks of anxiety and depression in individuals. So whether you just finished a workout, sauna session, or just waking up in the morning, Element is formulated to help anyone with their electrolyte needs and is perfectly suited for those following a keto, low-carb, vegan, or paleo diet. Right now, Element is offering my listeners a free sample pack with any purchase. That's 8 single serving packs free with any Element order. To get 8 free packs, you must go to drinkLMNT.com/digest to get this offer. Element also has a no questions asked refund policy, so you can try it totally risk-free. If you don't like it, they will give you your money back, no questions asked. You have nothing to lose. So go to drinkLMNT.com/digest to get this amazing offer. I'll also leave that link in today's show notes so you can easily scroll down and order with just one easy tap. Well, welcome, Ret, to the show.
Thanks, Bethany. It's great to be here.
Yeah. So why don't you, first of all, introduce yourself and tell my listeners who you are?
Sure. I'll keep it brief, but Ret Taylor. I'm the co-founder of Ned. I'm sure a lot of your listeners are familiar with us. We've been, closely related with you, Bethany, for quite a while now, and it's been a great relationship. But Ned, we're based here in Boulder, Colorado, and we make natural remedies. We make natural alternatives to pharmaceuticals, and it's very much a passion of ours.
Yeah, I love it. And I want to dig in to sleep specifically in this episode, but I also want to just kind of cover the basics and what are some misconceptions about CBD. Let's just dig deep right off the bat because a lot of people are really concerned. What are some misconceptions about CBD?
Yeah, well, you just took me back to pre-Ned days when I brought CBD home from my mom. She was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2014 and decided she would not do chemo or radiation. We were very fortunate and they caught it very early and she had that option, but still it was, it was a scary one and it was a big decision. And it was one that, we didn't take lightly. And she said she just wanted to battle her cancer through nutrition. And she was firm about that. And so I took it upon myself, and my sisters did as well, to learn everything we could about nutrition and her case specifically. But one of the things that kept coming up over and over was CBD and cannabinoids. And again, we're here in Boulder, Colorado, and we've got access to a lot of great alternative remedies. And so I brought home some CBD, which I purchased at the grocery store, Alfalfa's. And I brought it to her, and we were sitting on my front porch, and I brought it out, and she was like very nervous and concerned. And she said, "Where did you get this? And are the police going to show up?" And she said, "I'm 65 and I've never smoked marijuana in my life, and I'm not going to start now." And I had to explain to her that, Mom, I bought this very legally at a grocery store. It was sitting next to, some skincare products, and it will not get you high. And it took a while. And honestly, it was that conversation that really kind of, painted the way we would proceed with Ned in a way that I knew that conversation and this conversation that we're having right now was going to happen millions of times around the world. This concern about CBD, about cannabinoids, and really wanted to make it extremely approachable so that you could take it to your mom, or others could take it to their parents or beyond. And so our brand is very approachable, and education's a big part of that. So I'm really glad you asked. Long-winded beginning to it, but it really does go to the heart of why we're here, which was my mom's journey.
Yeah. And isn't that, I've heard your story before about why you and the co-founder Adrian started Ned. But that was a huge part of it, right? Was your mom.
Yeah, it was a huge part of it. That decision not to do chemo radiation really sent me on a journey of exploration to learn everything I could about her situation and nutrition. And, being here in Boulder, Colorado, we're surrounded by health experts of all varieties, from, doctors to shaman and all sorts. And it was really exciting for me and really fun. And I found just a deep passion for it. And I loved how connected it was with the earth and with nature. And I had a bit of a background. I've been studying and researching and experimenting with the power of nature for almost 20 years now, as a way for me to heal, and have gotten really deep into nature therapy and really all the benefits that living in accordance with nature and Mother Nature provide us. So,
yeah, I can definitely agree. As far as nature goes, it's so healing. It is just incredibly healing, with being outside and even just walking on dirt, down to the basics. And don't you even go and do like nature retreats here and there?
Yeah. It's my favorite thing to do. And I lead a lot of them. But yeah, we get outdoors as often as possible, and actually live in the mountains, on purpose. But live up above Boulder, in a really beautiful area with lots of nature. And spend as much time outdoors as possible. I even will set up an office outdoors and work from the mountain tops or riverbeds. I was just on a adventure over to our farm, which is about 300 miles away, here in Colorado. And we pass, dozens of other hemp farms along the way, but we really feel like it's the best hemp farm. And was working from the road and was on my motorcycle and had my laptop with me, and had a great time. But it's just so healing, and yeah, nature retreats and nature therapy is a highly underrated modality.
Agreed. Well, let's talk about the farm. So why this particular farm? Because knowing you for so many years now, I know, and that's why I love Ned and love you guys, because you don't cut corners and you really go above and beyond to really get the best of the best, and you search out the best. And if you can find something better, you opt for that. So why this farm among all the others?
Yeah, well, after my mom agreed to try CBD back in 2014, I started buying it for her, and she moved home, to her home, which was at that time near Dubai, where she was a professor. And I started sending her CBD products, very expensively and quite illegally as well. So I spent 2 years buying products for her, and during that time, I never developed any sort of affinity or loyalty to any of the companies that were there at the time, because I was asking questions. I was curious where they were growing their hemp and how they were extracting and why they were in business. And I wasn't getting any answers, or I would just get very routine answers. So, in the back of my mind, I've always been an entrepreneur. I saw a opportunity. I saw where the market could use a company that was much better at transparency and much more focused on quality instead of quantity. And so in 2017, in the summer of 2017, I started going around on some weekends, driving out to farms all over Colorado. And these were the farms that were growing for those companies at the time, and they came highly recommended. But when I would get to the farm, I would talk with the farmers, and it was apparent that they were good people and good farmers, but they were growing for quantity instead of quality. Mm-hmm. And their selling points were how cheap their hemp was and how much of it they could grow. And I was really looking for something completely opposite. I wanted, quality. I wanted this was going to be for my mom and for myself and for my friends. And I just wasn't finding quality. And I met with 8 or 7 different farmers over the course of the summer of 2017. And I kept hearing about this one farmer in this faraway place called Paonia, Colorado, which has a reputation as just an amazingly bountiful farmland. There's tremendous orchards there. The crops there are just always top shelf. And there's this lifeblood of farming that goes back 150 years. And there's this knowledge base among the farmers, which they share among each other. That's just really unique and special. It's also in this part of Colorado that's at a high elevation, but gets a lot of sun and has a much warmer climate. So the microclimate in Paonia is almost like Kansas. However, it's twice the elevation. And that elevation helps the plants to thrive. It spurs them to be stronger and hardier and produce more of their goodness. And so I was really excited to meet this farmer, and he was almost like a legend. And it turned out that my sister knew him, and she connected us, the two of us. And on September 17th, 2017, I made my way over to Paonia, and we met. And as soon as I drove onto the farm, I just knew that this was what I was looking for. It was, there was only 1 acre under cultivation, whereas although he had many other acres that he could have been farming, he had prayer flags all over, and he was vortexing the super pure, already pure Rocky Mountain water, biodynamic farming, much, organic farming at a minimum, but biodynamic as well.
Mm-hmm.
And just a really great energy there, like rotating crops and using livestock for fertilizer and creating his own compost tea.
It's
so
like a regenerative farm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. In
Yeah.
every sense. So completely regenerative, biodynamic, organic, and just great people as well. Great family. So I knew that was our farm. And from there, he told me about the best extraction facility in Colorado. Extraction is another key component. And a lot of companies cheap out on this and don't do it in a very sustainable way. He was very selective with where his hemp would be extracted. And so he told us about the best extraction facility in Colorado and the only method that he would use, which is a cold press, cold ethanol extraction, an organic cold ethanol extraction. And so I connected with them that same week and then called up my good friend, someone who I respect tremendously, Adrian, and asked him to be my partner and co-founder. And we went on a hike, really a mountaineering expedition in October, and a blizzard came up and we never reached the summit. But I always say that it was the most productive day of Ned, because it was that day before we had even incorporated the business that we set down the ground rules and created the guiding principles that would allow us to really stay true to who we are and create the guardrails that said, is this Ned or is this not Ned? And it was so productive because we don't have to think through that. We've never had to. We've always just said, is this within our ethos or is it not? And we move on if it's not. So that was a really beautiful time, and we were full of inspiration, and we still are. And almost 5 years later, it's just such a beautiful journey we've been on, and we are really just getting started.
Yeah, it's such an amazing story to know, the inspiration behind Ned. And then also, again, everything just goes to show you guys are very particular about everything that goes into your products, down to the water and soil of the hemp plant, and speaking that it's obviously organic, it's a regenerative farm. It's obviously outdoor grown, which a lot of other companies, it's indoor grown. It's a cold extraction process, which there are different extraction processes, and we can get into that as well. But that is the best. And what are some of the other types of extraction that people should know and be aware of, just to educate my listeners of what should they be looking for when they want the best of the best?
Yeah, well, knowing your listeners, I doubt that anybody is buying CBD in a gas station or any sort of like disreputable CBD brand, but those cheaper products will oftentimes use butane or propane to extract, and that's really hitting the hemp plant with very high heat, high pressure, and leaving those solvents. The solvents don't entirely go away. So that I doubt any of your audience is purchasing those. The other popular extraction method is a supercritical CO2. And there are a lot of companies who will propose this as the very best solution. However, it's a far less expensive process than cold ethanol extraction. It really hits the plant very quickly, and the extraction happens very quickly, which is why it's favored by a number of companies. Whereas a cold ethanol extraction, I mean, it takes weeks and weeks for us to extract our hemp. But it's also a good option. And the other option is a solvent-free option. And that would be done with water. However, there are a lot of downsides to that. So like you said, we're always looking for the best ways, the best ingredients. We're wide open to changing.
Mm-hmm.
We'll never be, set in one way. So we're always looking to improve. And we've been exploring the solvent-free, the water extraction, but it just isn't there yet. And we are still strong advocates for cold ethanol extraction.
Did you know low magnesium levels make vitamin D ineffective? And up to 50% of the US population is magnesium deficient. Magnesium also plays many other crucial roles in the body, such as supporting muscle and nerve function, as well as energy production and sleep regulation. And because our soil is so depleted, our foods are obtaining less and less of it, which trickles down to us humans getting less and less of it from the foods we eat. My holistic doctor told me to start taking magnesium, but I wanted to make sure I was getting the right kind, as there are several different types and forms, and some are not as effective and as bioavailable as others. I tried multiple pills from different brands and didn't see much of a difference in my sleep specifically. Then Ned came out with a new and improved formulation of their naked magnesium powder. This new formulation contains no sweeteners, no flavorings, and no gums. And since I already was a fan of their CBD, I decided to give their naked magnesium powder a try. The very first night, I noticed a difference in my sleep. Not only did I fall asleep quicker, but I stayed asleep through the night. And the best part is that I didn't wake up groggy the next morning. That was about 4 months ago, and I haven't turned back since. So if you are looking for a magnesium supplement, and I think everyone should be taking magnesium for some function in their body, may I strongly recommend Ned's Naked Magnesium Powder. I have full confidence this will benefit your sleep and ultimately your life. So become the best version of yourself and get 15% off Ned products with code DIGEST. Go to helloned.com/digest or enter code DIGEST at checkout. That's HELLONED.com/digest to get 15% off. Thank you, Ned, for sponsoring the show and offering my listeners a natural remedy for some of life's most common health issues. I do want to touch a little bit as well about the benefits of CBD. I'm sure a lot of people, they're pretty aware that CBD can help with anxiety. That's probably the number one thing when people think of hemp, marijuana, CBD is, okay, it helps me de-stress. But there are so many other benefits to CBD, such as gut health, digestion, skin, epilepsy. And these are just, I'm not just like saying this, these are studies. And then of course, sleep. So we could spend an entire episode on every topic, but let's maybe just hone in on sleep a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Sleep is actually the number one reason people come to us. And you're right. Our sleep blend is our best-selling product, actually by far. And then Mellow, our magnesium products, are primarily used for sleep as well. So we've really become known for our sleep products. And sleep is tied to so many things. Like you mentioned, stress, anxiety, depression, also joint and muscle pain, inflammation. Sleep is tied to so many things. So yeah, I mentioned what we do is we create natural alternatives to pharmaceuticals. And I've just known too many people who have gone down the pharmaceutical route for things like sleep that can be, helped by natural remedies without needing to go all the way to pharmaceuticals. So, sleep is a great one. In fact, when you use our product, the first thing that you will notice, most likely, is a better night's sleep. It can take a bit longer. It takes our products require consistent use, but it can take a bit longer to see effects on anxiety, stress, joint and muscle pain, inflammation. Sleep is key.
Yeah, well, and I do have your sleep blend as well, and it has not just CBD, but it has other components. Lemon balm, I believe that's one of them, and that is also known to help with sleep. And it also has CBN, and there are different components of the whole hemp plant. And so, explain to us what CBN is.
Yeah. So there are different cannabinoids. There's over 120 discovered cannabinoids. The two most famous are THC, which is the only cannabinoid that is psychoactive, that gets you high. It's the only one of those 120 plus cannabinoids. It's the only one. Our product has a very, very small trace amount of THC because we believe in a full spectrum, which creates the entourage effect, which is the most beneficial. When all the cannabinoids are working together, you're getting the best effect. So our products are all full spectrum. The other, famous cannabinoid is CBD. And it's a bit of a misnomer to call it a CBD product because, again, our products are full spectrum. And with Sleep Blend in particular, we increased the level of CBN, which is a very minor cannabinoid. CBN is actually derived from degraded THC. So it's basically, if your listeners have ever, smoked old weed, it can make people sleepy. And that's because THC breaks down into CBN. So again, this is just another cannabinoid. There's CBD, CBN, THC, CBG, CBCB, et cetera, and down the line. And we included CBN in the Sleep Blend because it's the sedative cannabinoid. It's the most sedative. And then we've also included lemon balm and passion flower and skullcap, oat
now, what
straw.
Is skullcap?
Skullcap's a beautiful flower. It's purple. It's got these great little tendrils hanging off it. It almost grows like a vine. And in fact, we purchased it from a woman or a farm owned by a woman in Massachusetts. And she, the skullcap that she grows, it actually is a volunteer. So a volunteer means that there were seeds, and the seeds were just sort of dropped somewhere, and they took hold and they started growing, and they grew up the side of a trellis at her farm. And it's more of a lavender farm, but she then realized that she was growing skullcap and cultivated it. So it's a really beautiful, beautiful plant that's been used for eons for help with sleep.
I love that you're so involved with every supplier. I really, really do. That speaks volumes, and it definitely shows. And the passion that you have for not just the product, but for the company and for your consumers. I do have to share this story, and I hope that's okay with you, Ret, but I think it was back in April of this year. And I have been suffering from some anxiety attacks here and there. And I think I called you or I texted you and I was like, Ret, like I am just having a major attack. What's going on? Like, and it was out of desperation because I was like, can I, like, how much of this can I really take to help me? And you were just, to my point is you were so caring. You immediately called me and you're like, hey, look, what's going on? And you told me, look, yeah, you can take this, take the de-stress blend. You guys have a de-stress blend, which I also love. You can take that in the daytime. It won't make you sleepy. At least for me, that's what I love about the de-stress. But anyway, and I was going on like a weekend trip that weekend and you're like, just, you can take some. So I was taking some like the entire trip and honestly, it helped. By the end of the trip, I was like, this is just amazing throughout I don't know if you can do this, but I was taking it a little bit throughout the day as, I don't know what you want to, like a little drip line or something. And it totally helped. But again, to my point is you truly care about your consumers and you care about lives. And it just really touched my heart that you really just dropped what you were doing. You gave me a call and you really wanted to help. You sent me some products. And so, it's just little things like that about a company because there's really people behind the company. And so, yeah, to my point is all your products are just, they contain so many, what's the word? I don't know. I'm just going off on a tangent, but I really do feel that you care about your products and the company and the people.
We all do. We do. It's why we're here. Honestly, I had a very successful business before this, but it was soul crushing, and all I was making money, and it wasn't what I wanted to be doing. So, gave that up to take a big risk, to do what I love and to help people. And that's exactly what my partner's done as well. And everyone on our team, it's what we focus on. And yeah, it's what makes it fun too. We're all about the people. And so, yeah, one of the things that I realized, or we all realized recently, or maybe about a year ago, was that we were sourcing our hemp from this amazing farm in Paonia, but then we were buying our skullcap and our ashwagandha and our chamomile and oat straw and others from Mountain Rose and Pacific Botanicals, which are amazing companies. These are companies that also have incredibly high integrity, that are also all about their farmers and about their people. But really realized that we should be going direct to the farmers. We should have these relationships with all of our suppliers. And so that's what we started. It's called Farm to Ned. And we started looking for great farms across America that we could purchase those ingredients that we were buying from Mountain Rose and Pacific Botanicals directly from. And it took a good amount of effort to find those farms that were organic certified. We also wanted as many as possible to be minority owned, female owned, have some sort of interesting story. But we've found tremendous, just wonderful, beautiful farmers, and the connections with the people there is just wonderful. Been just wonderful. And we now source all of our ingredients for our hemp products through those farms, and they stretch literally across America from San Juan Islands in off the coast of Washington, all the way over to Martha's Vineyard, which is the farm I mentioned growing the skullcap, and which is an island off the coast of Massachusetts. So and they're all minority owned or female owned. And they're all organic certified. And it's just such a pleasure to work with them, because we hear that now instead of growing just 1 acre, they're going to grow 3, They've hired 3 new people. They have a sense, we give them something that farmers lack dramatically, which is any kind of certainty. A farmer's life is incredibly uncertain, and they're at the mercy of nature and water and soil and bugs and hail and you name it. No control over that. They also have no control, almost, or very, very little control over the market prices. Mm. And so those market prices can change from the time you plant to the time you harvest. And where you think you're going to be profitable, you can all of a sudden be at less than break even. So we give them a guaranteed price. We give them a guaranteed outlet. A lot of these farms they're growing great produce and great crops, but they don't have anywhere good to sell it to. And I've been hearing stories about big companies, like big Apple buyers, that will literally just beat farmers down on the price that they need. And farmers are growing at a loss. And it's really hard to hear about, but we love to be able to do the opposite and give some certainty to our farmers.
I love that. Yeah, that's amazing. Now, I do have a question about storage. Does storage matter? Temperature, as well as does it need to be in a dark bottle, light, all that stuff?
Yeah, it's hemp. We're talking about hemp, like the tincture right now, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So a hemp tincture is pretty stable. It doesn't need to be in a dark bottle. It helps. Our bottles are all amber. That helps. It doesn't need to be, though. Ideally, it's stored in a cool, dark place, which is what we say. But if you leave a bottle on the windowsill for a week, you shouldn't be concerned. Our products we say a 1-year shelf life. Really, it's more like 2 years, but we say 1 just to be very safe. Mm-hmm. So, storage is somewhat important, and it's kind of ideally, it would be in a cold, dark place. Mm-hmm. But okay. leaving it on your nightstand in a brightly lit room is fine. It's in the amber bottle. So yeah, I guess I'm trying to say it's nothing to be overly concerned about.
If you could do something different, or if you could have another product, what would that be?
Well, we just yesterday launched a product that I've been angling for, hoping to create, using other like options on the market, and that's Brain Blend. Brain Blend is product it's a full spectrum hemp tincture with CBD, CBG, plus we added bacopa and lion's mane, gotu kola, ginseng, ginkgo, and I think CBG in a MCT organic non-GMO coconut oil base, and it's really amazing. It helps me with brain fog. In fact, I had some before this podcast, but anytime I want to feel sharp, I'm using our Brain Blend, and it clears away brain fog, and it just makes me sharper. It helps the words come to my tongue. I think that's kind of like the most anecdotal, but also best way to describe it. And then it's also good for long-term brain health, which I have to be concerned about with Alzheimer's and dementia in my family. So can I use that as my answer? Although it just was launched.
Just launched. I mean, it sounds amazing. Brain health is so important. I myself am definitely focusing a lot on that as I get older, and, I'm in my 30s, and looking for foods and supplements that can really better our brain and reverse that. So,
and another one I should tell you about, which I'm hoping I already have, but is our Relief Balm. Relief Balm is...
Yes. I did get that. And let me tell you, my boyfriend and I both agreed this is the best topical CBD relief balm we've ever tried. He does a lot of physical work for his job. And so he has a lot of aching joints and back pain and different things. And so I had rubbed it on I think it was like his shoulder or something. And it really did help. And for myself, I was actually having like some stomach cramps. So I rubbed it on my stomach and it helped. So yeah, I love it. So the relief balm.
Yeah, I love it too. It's something that I've wanted for a long time. I used to use Tiger Balm, and I was a ultra distance runner and marathon runner, and I used to use Tiger Balm, and then I looked a couple years ago at the ingredients, and I was like, oh, not good. Petroleum jelly and chemicals. And so I talked with our formulator and asked her if she could reverse engineer Tiger Balm and create a fully organic balm that would not only be organic, but would also last longer and be more effective than Tiger Balm. And she did exactly that. And it's awesome. And I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing. You guys are doing amazing work, and congratulations on all your success and for really changing people's lives. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, that means everything. That's why we're here.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Digest This. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review in your podcast app to let us know. If you're ever wondering how you can support me and this podcast, sharing it with your friends and family is the best way. This is a Resonant Media production produced by Drake Peterson and edited by Chris McCone. To email the show, message us at digestthispod@gmail.com. See you next time. The content of this show is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for individual medical and mental health advice and does not constitute a provider-patient relationship. As always, talk to your doctor or health team first.
If you're looking to take back your health, it's time for you to listen to the Real Foodology podcast. From the producer of Digest This comes one of Apple Podcast's top 10 nutrition shows, hosted by integrative nutritionist and real food activist Courtney Swan. The Real Foodology podcast is on a mission to change the way we eat. Courtney interviews doctors, food experts, health professionals, and nutrition pioneers to bring you the best info so you can thrive. Somewhere along the way, we lost sight of how impactful our food choices are. But it's never too late to start on the path of better health choices. You'd be so surprised how resilient our bodies are when we start taking care of them. Yes, it's overwhelming, but that's why Courtney's here to help. She breaks it down for you and makes the information more accessible so that you can make more informed decisions in the grocery aisle or restaurant. Listen to the Real Foodology podcast today on your favorite podcast app. New episodes every Wednesday. Produced by Drake Peterson and Resonant Media.